7, the untouchable number in motorsports when it comes to championship, as illustrated by NASCAR, with Jimmie Johnson, Richard Petty, and Dale Earnhardt each with 7 apiece. Only 34 drivers have actually won a championship, and 16 have done it multiple times. To win it 7 times is a truly amazing feat, as no other driver has won it more than 4 times. But when were one of those drivers close enough to that 8th title? Whether it be after they had won 7 championships or before they had won their first, or anywhere in between. First of all, we'll look at Jimmie Johnson, who raced mostly during the Chase era, and that's where he won all 7 of his championships. So his case will be the most unique. In just his second full-time season, Jimmie Johnson finished second in the points in 2003. Unfortunately for Johnson, that year Matt Kenseth had an insanely dominant season. Won the championship by 90 points, even with a blown engine at Homestead, finishing dead last. The next year in 2004, the 48 team was even better, winning 8 races and having 20 top 5s. After back-to-back DNFs at Talladega and Kansas, the 48 teams had 9th out of the Chasers, 247 points behind Kurt Busch. However, the 48 team won 4 out of the next 5 races heading into Homestead. With a late race caution, Johnson sat 4th, heading to green-white checkered. If Johnson wins the race and Kurt Busch finishes 5th or worse, Johnson wins the title. 4th to 1st is unlikely, but with a championship on the line and it's being Jimmie Johnson, you never know what happened.
Hung on to it and took the lead at the same time.
And Kurt Busch making sure they all don't end up in a smoking pile.
Jimmie Johnson second. Jeff Gordon trying outside Tony Stewart. Will he get it? I think he will when he gets down on the straightaway. Got the momentum.
White flag, 1 lap to go. Look at this, Kurt might get challenged by some of these guys coming up behind him.
He certainly doesn't need to lose those positions.
Jimmie Johnson to second. Jeff Gordon third. Kurt Busch in 5th and trying to hang on to that spot. If he stays there, he wins the title.
You may see a Hail Mary here by the 20 car. Right on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. Don't think he can do it.
Checkered flag is up. Greg Biffle wins the Ford 400 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon finish 2nd and 3rd. It's not going to be enough. Kurt Busch is the 2004 NASCAR Next L Cup Series champion.
Kurt Busch beat Jimmie Johnson by just 8 points to the 2004 champion. In 2005, Jimmie Johnson sat 52 points behind Tony Stewart heading into the championship race. He needed some magic to happen.
The caution has just come out for championship contender Jimmie Johnson.
And the right rear tire has exploded on the 48 car.
It looked like it was low, and Biffle was right. I mean, the tire looked low, and we got a shot of it. Got to listen to what that car's telling you. Jimmie Johnson knew something was wrong. Right in front of the leader, Jeff Gordon. And there's the end of his championship hopes right there.
Tony Stewart won the 2005 title with a 15th place finish. Johnson wasn't that competitive at the beginning of the race, but had he finished 1st or 2nd or 3rd and led laps, he would have been the champion. After 5 consecutive championships, 2011 looked to be the same initially for the 48 team. While not as dominant, they were still 4 points back after a win at Kansas.
They're still side by side there, Ellen. Let's send it back to you, but don't forget about Ambrose. He finished 6th here in the spring.
And having a top 5 might hang on there. Jimmie Johnson, sideways.
Is he going to be able to save it?
What a hard hit.
We're done, guys.
This and a poor finish at Talladega eliminated any hope of 6 in a row. After wins at Texas and Martinsville, Jimmie Johnson had a 7-point lead over Brad Keselowski with 2 races left in the 2012 season. However, back-to-back finishes outside the top 30 eliminated him from contention, and Keselowski won the title that year. In 2014, NASCAR announced an elimination-style points format, and Jimmie Johnson was eliminated in the second round. In 2015, Johnson looked to have another solid season until Dover rolled around the round of 16 cutoff race.
Guys, 48 on pit road. Yeah, this is at lap 104. This is well before you could see they have an issue.
Johnson then won his 7th and final championship in 2016. In 2017, he had 3 wins early in the season, including his 83rd and final career win at Dover. And the next week at Pocono, he looked to be coming up to feel good, but then he had a terrible crash, and after that, that was the end of his competitive career. Because Jimmie Johnson won all his championships in the Chase era, his championships are a lot closer and runner-ups as well, which means that we won't spend as much time on Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty because the separations between winning championship and were not that much in the Chase era compared to that of the full season points format. Now that we've looked at the times when Jimmie Johnson nearly won a championship that would vault him to 8, let's look at the same for Dale Earnhardt. In his first season where he raced the majority of the schedule in 1979, Dale Earnhardt won the Rookie of the Year, and just his second season, he won the championship in 1980. And fun fact, he would never finish outside the top 12 in points in a season where he raced more than 5 races. After a few mediocre seasons by his standards, Dale Earnhardt returned to look to contend for the championship again in 1984. With 12 top 5s and 22 top 10s, only 2 DNFs. After a 10th place finish at Bristol with 9 races to go, Dale sat just 10 points back of Terry Labonte. However, after a blown engine at the Southern 500 the next race, Dale was 108 points back and was not able to recover. In 1988, Dale Earnhardt looked to make it 3 in a row after winning back-to-back championships. Unfortunately for him, Bill Elliott was dominant that year, and Rusty Wallace as well even. Elliott had 16 straight top 10s and then an 11th place finish to end the season. With 6 races left, Dale Earnhardt had a 125 point advantage over Rusty Wallace, but then Charlotte rolled around.
On the back straightaway, Earnhardt looks like he may be slowing down. Here's the 2 leaders, and Earnhardt coming off the pace in car number 3. The Richard Childress prepared car. Remember, this is the #1 car going for $1 million at the end of the season. Has a 125-point advantage over Rusty Wallace coming into this race, and in lap 13, he's in trouble.
Dale Earnhardt ended up missing out on the championship by just 12 points, and that's even with winning the last race of the season at Atlanta. The Iceberg made a missing rings video about it. After they finished 1, 2, 3 in the Pepsi 400, the 15th race of the 1995 season, it looked like it would be Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Gordon battling it out for the title. However, with 4 finishes of 20th or worse in the next 6 races, Dale fell to 314 points behind Gordon. And even with 10 straight top 10s to end the season, Dale Earnhardt was not able to close the gap and finish 34 points behind Gordon in second place in the 1995 standings. In 1996, he led the points as late as the Daytona Summer Race, but had a much less consistent second half of the season as opposed to Terry Labonte's 11 top 5s in the final 13 races. After a few mediocre seasons by his standards, many thought Dale Earnhardt was kind of finished as a top-level driver. However, in 2000, he proved he still had it by finishing second to Bobby Labonte, who only finished outside the top 15 3 times. That was his final season. Now that we've looked at the intimidator Dale Earnhardt, let's look at the times that the King, Richard Petty, was close to another championship that would have made him an 8-time champion. Richard Petty actually finished second in the points 6 times. Petty's first season, where he raced almost all the races, was in 1960, and he finished second place behind Rex White, 3,960 behind. Due to a complex points format that involved the amount of prize money, it's really hard to guesstimate as to just how close it was. However, he just had 81% of the points that White had, so it was a high margin of victory, but still a runner-up finish, so that was pretty close. 1962 and 1963 would see Richard Petty once again race pretty much the whole schedule, missing only like one race, but both times he was bested by Joe Weatherly by just a little bit. In 1966, Richard Petty would finish a distant third behind James Hilton and the champion David Pearson, but he missed 10 races and won 27 the next year. Despite winning 16 races in 1968, David Pearson also won 16 that year and edged him out along with Bobby Isaac as Richard Petty finished third. In 1969, Petty missed 4 races but still finished second behind David Pearson over 300 points back. In 1970, Richard Petty won 18 races but had to miss 7 of them due to a bad crash at Darlington, and therefore finished 4th, 464 points back. And had he not missed those races, he probably would have won that championship, and it would have made it 8 for him. In 1976, Richard Petty tried for 3 in a row and his 7th championship. He ended up finishing second, 195 points back, but DNF'd the final 2 races, and had he not, it would have been much closer. The next year, the top 2 remained unchanged, but it was more decisive for Yarborough, winning by almost 400 points. However, the gap was only 50 points with as late as 10 races to go. After his final championship in 1979, he was never close to another one. And no one thought there would be another 7-time champion until Dale Earnhardt showed up. They said the same after Dale, and then Jimmie Johnson happened. A lot of people say that there will be another one. Let me know in the comment section down below whether or not you think that will happen. The last 7 championships remains the mark to beat in NASCAR. But even in other motorsports, in IndyCar, AJ Foyt leads the way with 7, with Scott Dixon hard on his tail trying to capture number 7. In F1, Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher are tied with 7 for the most. However, Lewis Hamilton looks to be on his way to his 8th, breaking this boundary set in motorsports.